If you want to be more charismatic, if you want to be a better speaker, if you want to understand how to be a better communicator in the corporate world in job interviews and how to grow and climb the ladder, this podcast is for you. And so with that being said, if you get value from the show, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and enjoy the episode.
I mean, I've been catching your content. I see like a lot of day in the life stuff,
Yeah.
right? Where are you headed with? I'm curious. Like, what's your outlook on it? You probably have like your pillars or whatever it is, like stuff you're trying to tap into, right?
Yeah, so I think at this point right now with my content, I'm trying to take people like behind the scenes of what it actually is to quit your job. Because first of all, I despise college to an extent, especially business schools, because they shove consulting and shove investment banking in your face and say this is what you need to do. And then you're in an arena of people who, especially at a great school, Northwestern, WashU, where everybody's there. It's like, man, I want to get this job because I can have the LinkedIn post. And this girl is gonna think I'm the man, and then this guy is gonna think I'm the girl. Like everybody wants that. But at the end of the day, I know many, many people who are in investment banking and consulting, and they all hate it.
Yeah,
Every single one of them. But the colleges, that's what make them look good. Like that's their marketing is I send kids to BCG, McKinsey, Goldman. This is the average median salary for kids who go to our business school. And I think it's a little dumb. So I want to show people and inspire them like, yo, there is a route that you can take that is not that. And just because your parents or whoever tells you that you need to be in corporate, that does not matter. But I also want to highlight like it's probably there's a reason why a lot of people don't do this, and it probably is very, very difficult. And I'm just seeing from the past couple of days, dude, it screws with your mind. Like, especially content, as you know, you're not rewarded in the moment for that. It's a very long-term game. So when you're sitting here now and you're wasting a little bit of time or you're getting distracted, it's just like, dude, I have no money coming in.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm living in New York. So
that's
kind of
a big factor for sure. Yeah, but you're doing great, man. I mean, like you're pumping out content, like the stuff's interesting. You keep people engaged. It's great. And like if you're getting those messages and you're getting views, I see the videos. Like you're doing well there. So keep at it. Obviously, because it's early, right? Like when did you start making content?
I started October 2023.
You're
Yeah.
new, but like crushing it.
When did you start?
August 2021. Dude, I was making fitness content like years ago.
Oh, wow.
Both the nutrition stuff. Like, I'm not on steroids. Like, I didn't have the physique to compete, and so I think the personality kind of like did pretty well. But my content didn't really hit home for people until probably around a year ago, like to the date. I would say I made 1,200 videos prior to any traction at all.
Are they all on your page? All 12?
They're all there. Yeah, you can scroll. Like you'll find it. TikTok has them really archived, but yeah. So my first Instagram videos got like 11 views. Remember, it was wild.
Damn.
Then I had a few over 1 million on Instagram, and like rest is history. Not to say that I'm like huge, but like I have somewhat of a following, and it's because I think I found the right audience, found the right niche, and my message resonated well. So
wait, so what switched you from fitness now to communication and charisma?
You want the whole story or the quick bit?
Oh, I want it all. Give me everything.
All right. So I always knew. Let me just we'll start way back in the day. So ADHD, medicated for a long time, like since second grade. My parents were like, "This kid's off the wall. We got to figure something out." I was in the principal's office, corner of the classroom, constantly, like every day. And I think part of it was a behavior thing, but like I couldn't focus. Like I didn't understand why I had to sit there and listen to a teacher talk and read like when my friends are in the room. So I think I was pretty social from the start. I also played sports. But I think somewhere along the line, I'm taking a guess because you never fully know why. I think I developed a pretty strong empathy for people. Like I didn't want anyone to feel that left out, how I felt getting put in the corner or like at recess pulled aside. And so I was able to connect with people. Like through college, I became an RA and I developed strong relationships with all the guys on my floor really easily. And like they had mental health issues that I helped them through. Anyways, fast forward, I ended up working at Fidelity. I got into Kellogg. I realized, I think I took a break from the fitness content for like a couple months. And January, I think 1st of 2024, maybe, I was like, you know what? Like I'm getting outflanked in the market for fitness stuff. Like I don't really want to be a trainer. I was a personal trainer, but like I'm like, I think I like this more for myself
Okay.
than helping other people. I helped friends lose weight, which was awesome, but I was like, I think I have more to give in other areas. Like my career is going really well. I moved up at Fidelity very quickly. And so I started with like life coaching for guys like your age. So like, early 20s. And um, I thought that was the move, like personal development content. So I was like talking mindset, career, some communication stuff. I made one video, like probably again around this same time last year, 4 phrases to keep a conversation going.
Mm.
And it hit like 1.3 million quickly. And I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. So I started digging into that more, and I'm like, I am pretty good at talking to people. Like, let's see what we can do with this.
Wow.
Um, there's a gap in there I didn't talk about like I read all the books, I studied other people, I became a team leader at Fidelity, and like really wanted to grow as a leader. So that's really where it stemmed from my expertise. Like I built this skill set, and I realized like I could pass it along to other people.
Interesting. Wait, so can we talk about the books and studying people?
Yeah.
So starting off with the books, what books did you read to become a better communicator?
You know the first one I'm going to say.
Let me
What's the
take a
first?
guess.
What's the first?
How to win friends and influence
Of
people.
course. That's like the book. That's the book I think most people should start with. And I think it gets a bad rap for people pleasing, or the salespeople make it bad because they'd be like, Anthony, tell me about Anthony. How's your day going, Anthony? You know how they like repetition over and over.
Yeah.
You have to have the self awareness to deliver it well, and it has to be genuine. So that's the first book. I
Wait,
think.
let's stay on that book for a sec.
Yeah.
So, is there a certain principle in that book that sticks out to you the most?
So the whole the whole book, like, show genuine interest in other people.
Yeah.
I think Carnegie nailed that, but I think there's another element of it because even my conversation videos that I post, people will be like, males finally discover showing interest in other people. And I'm like, there's more to it. Or people will say, like, these conversation starters don't work. But there's an element of what I call a childlike curiosity. Like
Uh,
true, like how you actually want to know what's going on in my life. Same back to you. Like, I really want to know what's going on with your job. Like,
yeah.
I'll probably call you this week, honestly. We'll talk
What's up?
more. And it's different than asking the questions you think you should ask. People think that's genuine interest, but I think it's deeper than that. I think you have to like, it's a mindset flip from like, I don't care about people. I'm just trying to like influence this person or get them to like me. And so I'm going to ask these questions.
Mm.
You got to dig deeper than that. There's another level of it where like you almost need to know what's going on and find that curiosity. I think that shows up in how you deliver it.
So, let's just say, is there an art and a science to digging deeper and asking better questions? Because let's just say, like, I'm really interested in you right now, but for some reason, maybe you're someone I look up to, or you're my boss or whatever. So now I'm in my head, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to impress this person. I am super curious. I don't want to come across as a fool. What should I say? And I'm freezing up. You have any advice on how to dig deep there?
Totally. To your point, it is an art and a science. Like there's because here's the art piece is that the questions that will I'll say work. I don't like questions working. I think connection with people is what we want to call out. Like it's going to be received differently from different people. So that's the art, like reading the situation and the person. If you freeze up and you're not really sure what to say, that's usually an element of what's called the spotlight effect. So you're in your own head. You're like, how's my positioning? Is my body language good? Like this CEO here is talking to me. Like, am I presenting myself as a professional? So it's a spotlight shift. We have to now be so present in the conversation that you're picking up those subtle insights that the other person's dropping. Because when you really listen,
Uh,
you're actually in the conversation, which is hard now. I mean, one word will take us elsewhere. So
yeah.
it's a discipline rather than like something that happens naturally. Like you really need to keep coming back. Like it happens to me. I'll hear one word immediately. I'm like, what about this video idea? I'm sure it happens to you
Yeah.
too. So to be so present there and just think about, again, back to the curiosity piece, like, what do I actually want to learn from this? And if there's nothing more and you don't want to continue the conversation, that's okay. But I think there's more to glean from it. And it's a skill too, because I think once you practice more and you watch others who are good at it, you see what you can pick and choose. A
Okay.
lot of people will hear somebody say a sentence and then be like, I don't know what to ask from that. It's because you don't have the tools more often than not. Right.
Do you ever go to people? I had a psychologist on, probably a couple weeks ago, and she said the best thing you can ever do in a conversation is when you go into a conversation, know how you want to make this person feel, and that should be your north star and objective. Because once you can understand that, I mean, the ball's in your court. Do you ever go into convos with that mindset, or is it more just, "Oh, I'm curious. Let me just see where they take this."
I would say it's probably both. So
Okay.
it depends. Like if I'm coaching someone immediately, it's how can I come off as welcoming as possible, a support person? That's really important. But if I'm going in, sometimes that's hard to do, right? Like if I want to make you feel excited to meet me, like think about how challenging that is. Like you start to like walk the line of like an act a
Mhm,
little bit.
mhm.
I think I don't think
Yeah, yeah, it was she.
I don't think she's wrong. I think totally right. I think there's probably an and in there somewhere
Okay.
where it's like, and maybe what can I learn from this person? You know, there's probably like plus 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 a bunch of different things. But yeah, no, that's the Maya Angelou quote, right? Like people don't care what you say, they don't care what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them
Fine.
feel. So
Okay.
critical. Yeah.
Alright, so, How to Win Friends and Influence People, what other books?
I messed up the name earlier. Someone was asking me this. It's not Super Connectors. It's Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
So Charles Duhigg wrote The Power of Habit, which if you read like the start to Atomic Habits, James Clear actually like heavily pulled from that book. But I think James Clear was like kind of like a what do you call it? He's a curator of like all things habits. So he pulled from that heavily. Charles Duhigg's an HBS guy, but he wrote, yeah, Super Communicators. That's a unique take that I'd never heard before on building connections in hard conversations with people. And there's a lot of good case studies in there. That's a solid one I'd recommend to people.
Wait, can you break that down? When you say hard conversations, is it like, I'm a boss and I need to deliver bad news or criticism, or what do you mean?
I think he probably touches on that, but the one I'm thinking of, he has people from two sides of a um, political spectrum talking
Uh,
to each other and trying to hear each other out, and he gives them tools on how to go about it. He either gives them tools or they did a study on like how you can go about it and like truly understanding somebody and mimicking back what they say to you, and and they find ways for the people to connect really well despite those differences in opinion and thought.
okay.
Yeah,
Do you know some of the methods off top of head?
yeah, there's one, called Looping for Understanding where I'll ask you a question like, "Anthony, how you feeling about quitting your job?"
I feel anxious and excited.
Yeah, so a little bit of nervous, a little bit of like, anticipation for the future, right?
100%.
That sound right? That's
Yeah.
exactly how it works. So, like, did you feel heard there?
Yeah, because you're, like, mirroring back what I'm saying.
Mirroring back without repeating the exact thing. Because
Okay.
now I just told now there's a delivery in it. Because if you repeat the same thing exactly, it's like it sounds salesy. And even probably the way I did it probably sounded a little bit salesy on the spot.
Yeah.
Um, But sometimes, like, people are finding the words to articulate something, and you can use that, and it's just a way, like, in such a disconnected world to make the other person feel heard, where you actually were listening to what they had to say, and you care enough to reiterate and make sure you had it. So there's power in that, right?
At the start of this conversation, as soon as you asked me, you asked me about my job and how I was feeling, and I said it, and I was like, "Oh, like, I'm feeling this week's been a lot, like, emotions up and down." And then immediately after that, you said something like, "Man, I understand how you feel," or "I hear you," or "I can
Yeah.
see how you feel that way." I can't remember exactly what it was, and
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. After you said that, I felt a little warm inside.
Yeah.
I'm like,
There
"Oh,
you go.
shit." Like,
I love it.
he understands me. Like, I felt like you emotionally validated me in
Yep.
that moment and made me feel good. That's a great.
Real too, not faking that. That is
Right.
that is yeah, that's truly off the cuff, but I'm glad you felt that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate the
There
support.
you go. I do feel for you. I understand wholeheartedly. Yeah.
So, the types of students that you're coaching, I would say, like, what are the desires of the most common types of people that you're working with?
A lot of time so I'll just say this, like 98% of my sales calls are with moms. So I have
Wow.
moms who have sons. Now, the nuance is that I typically either talk to the son or make sure that the son actually wants to improve on communication skills before working together. Because I've had, when I first started, like, if the kid didn't want to do it and he thought everything was fine communication wise, you can imagine how that went. Like, I'm giving the frameworks and tactics, and like they're like, okay, I don't care. Like, I got friends, like I'm solid.
Yeah.
Um, some guys don't feel confident in conversation. Like, they don't feel comfortable approaching somebody. They don't know how to continue a conversation. They don't know how to meet new people and build connection. So it's a wide array. Um, General confidence. Some people want to get ready for interviews, but I would say like they feel awkward. Some of them feel socially isolated. That's a big one now. Like
Mm,
now, like I mentioned, like we're so disconnected. Where if you feel like you're kind of on the outskirts, like it's almost more emphasized than maybe when you and I were in high school. I'm a little bit older, but yeah, like around the same time period. You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay, interesting. So if someone is like the socially awkward kid and like a student comes to you and says like I'm awkward and I'm not charismatic, what is the first thing you try to fix within that person?
Yeah, so I'll say before the fix, it's we'll call it growth and improvement, right? Um, it's getting a lot of context on like the situation because everyone's different. So that's why the coaching is so personalized. Like I have a general curriculum of things you'd imagine, like how to handle first impressions, continue conversations, go deeper, build connection. But I can assess fairly quickly like what they need to work on,
Mm,
and typically there's just I don't know whether to call it an epidemic, but like RBF is just running wild these days. Like, you
really?
know what RBF is? Like, yeah, like resting bitch
Resting bitch face. Yeah.
face. Yeah, sorry everybody. But yeah, I mean it's you call it Zoom face now. You see, I'm sure you saw it at work. Like people are like they look so miserable, which is why I push on warmth so much. But the first thing I always tell people is like amplify. And I do this like little turn up the notch thing. And immediately you can see the flip because they start bringing personality in their face, their tonality changes, and it just amplifies. It's a 10 to 25% because you go from this, hey, hi, how are you? Good. One word answers to now you bring a little bit of life to the conversation. So that's typically like the first like big boost.
Why do you think that's the case?
The why that works or why the
No,
RB
the RBF. Why the RBF?
I would say fewer social interaction reps. I would say social media and COVID probably did a number on a lot of people where you're no longer recognizing how important the facial expression actually is. Can you imagine if I was talking to you? Like I can't even do it because I'm so used to moving my face around. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's hard. So I think I'll tell you another thing. I think
Yeah.
I'll say a lot of the parents I work with are very social, and this happens to a lot of us. Like we get behind our parents, they answer for us for so long, so we don't get those reps. You get into high school, college, especially if you don't play sports and you're not around people a lot, like you don't get the reps. And so someone else is speaking for you, and now you got to learn it, and then you get into your career, and it's really challenging.
I also think part of the thing, man, I had an what is it? Resting RBF face on Zoom meetings, 100%. And that's why, but that's why it's like, yo, that's not my personality. Like
Yeah,
when I go out and I see people that I'm excited to see, I'm I'm fired up and I'm very excited. But when
yeah,
you put me in an environment like a Zoom call at 9 in the morning for work that I don't find purpose in,
yeah.
it's very hard to fake it, but what's at the core of that? Like, I genuinely am not interested and pissed off, and I don't wanna be there.
Sure.
So, well, I think it's a whole different like, are these people in every single situation just not happy about life? Because that's a whole different thing.
There's definitely depression that like lives
Okay.
amongst this, but I'll like just putting that aside, like, no, I don't think so. I think it's just not an awareness of how they're coming off. I think that is, and why that's important because we kind of hide behind the shield. Like we all do this. Like I'm just being genuine. Like why would I get excited? Why would I laugh at a joke I don't find funny? And there's a human connection piece where like we would all be lying if we said there wasn't an element of like, I don't want to say acting, but you almost have to like elevate to the context.
Dude,
Because think about it.
everybody's an actor. Everybody acts.
Yeah, which sounds terrible, but it's true. Like there's an element of it. But hear me out. When you're up on stage and you're delivering, a really important talk, if you're monotone, like there's no fakeness in being performative. It's how we communicate as humans. Like we need to get a message across. So if you need to use your facial expression and tonality to deliver a message and connect with somebody, that's just a tool. I wouldn't call it fake. Kind of like projecting right now on some of the comments I get
Yeah.
on TikTok, but yeah.
Well, TikTok. Okay, so we won't even talk about TikTok.
Yeah.
How do I turn this up? It's actually such an interesting point because I'll give an example. Um, in social media, like you're an actor. You're not an actor when you're maybe speaking a voiceover or you have a serious message, but when you start a video off and you're trying to get a hook, you best believe you're acting in that and you're doing probably something stupid and
Yeah.
just to get
Yeah.
attention. But
Yeah.
sometimes I feel hard to do that stuff like, bro, I don't wanna, like, look stupid and make a fool of myself and do dumb stuff, but,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what pattern interrupts, and that's what get people's attention. So, can you explain the trick to get rid of the RBF?
Yeah. So it's as far you're going like this, like the amplify thing. That's almost like a mantra. It's like when you feel like you're getting into that mode where that's the default, right? Like RBF, monotoned, you just say up 25%, up 10%, amplify, bring a little bit more energy. That's the biggest thing. Like that energy will then come into your physiology. It'll come into the sentences that you're bringing forward, the questions you're going to ask because you're there and you're confident and you're in it. And so, as far as I just blanked on the question that you asked me, the initial part. Oh, how do you like, you asked me, like, how do you fix that?
Yeah, how to fix this, turn
I
it
had
up,
another
like, any
thought.
tactics to it.
Yeah. Oh, it's really just about it's about remembering that.
Okay,
Because again, a lot of these things are I say like it's a discipline. It's not something that happens innately. So you have to turn it into a habit, something that you do regularly by just practicing it. So
gotcha.
like that's what I tell my clients. Like with mom and dad, bring a little bit of energy later. Like let's how is school good is not going to cut it right now.
Yeah.
Like elaborate a little bit more. Practice in private so that when you bring it out into the world and people that you feel like are important interactions, you're ready to go.
I also think some part of it, though, is really difficult because that's the identity that someone has made out for themselves.
Yeah.
It's like the same principle as, um, let's just say one person their whole life, they've been a victim, and
Yeah.
so they have a victimhood mentality and identity. Therefore, in every single situation, they're gonna be thinking, "Oh, of course this happened to me. Like,
Yeah.
I can never win." Because
Right.
that's your self-image, you're in this box.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with people like, "I'm a more serious guy." Boom, boom, boom. And so now you gotta break that, which is not an easy thing to do.
It's true. Yeah. So that's kind of like that kind of comes back to like who do you want to be? If you want to be the serious guy, be the serious guy. That's your thing. Like go for it. But if you want to come off more warm, it's
Mm,
Vin Jiang does a really good job. Do you know who that is? Vin Jiang. So he was a magician for a long time, big performer, and now he teaches communication skills. He does like not necessarily keynotes, but like big time, big scale workshops. And he's from Australia, but he does a really good job. He talks about he's like tells people like, why you're good at being shy? And they're like, why? It's like because you've been practicing being shy for the last 30 years. These
mm.
are just new tools that you haven't picked up. It's a new identity. So it's like exposure therapy into tapping into that. So to go from the serious guy to the more charismatic guy, let's just pick apart the behaviors. If we want to get real tactical about it, that's where we start. Like you can do the mindset stuff. I want to be more interested in people. I need to elevate my mood and physiology, but let's talk about it. Like I'm looking miserable everywhere. That's an easy fix. And this really clicked for me a few years back when like I'm a friendly guy. I enjoy talking to people. Like I make a lot of friends at Kellogg. Um I was walking around my apartment complex and I would go, "How you doing?" to people, and they'd be like, not respond or kinda nod, and I'm like, "What the is going on right now? Like, why are people not warm?" And I recognize it, like, somebody came at me beaming one day, big smile and
Yeah.
energy. They were like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Am I not smiling when I talk to these people?" And so I started going around doing the same thing, immediate reciprocation. Like, it was like light bulb moment for me, and so So simple, right? Like huge change, engaging in more conversation as a result. And that was it. It was like that energy was mirrored very simply. And so I went from probably looking miserable. I'm pretty tall. Like I probably looked fairly intimidating. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I probably came off a lot more warm. But that simple shift was all it took.
The thing about the smiling thing though, I try to get better. I was seriously thinking about this today, leaving Trader Joe's. I was leaving Trader Joe's and there's this lady coming in and I just go, "How you doing?" And I'm trying to like say what's up, but I'm like, I can't get
Yeah.
myself to smile.
Sorry.
I don't know this person. I feel weird. How do
Yeah.
I get myself to smile?
It's hard, man. It's practice. Like it because it feels unnatural, right? It doesn't feel like you. Because you're not
It
hyped
doesn't.
to see this lady,
Exactly.
right? But as you practice that a little bit, it's the same thing. Like you didn't come out driving a car. Like it's just you just kind of it becomes more natural. And then like riding a bike, they say, it's the same exact thing. And again, it's not an act. It's how are you projecting warmth into the world? And it's a smile. And you can practice in the mirror. No one's gonna see
True.
you unless you put it on social media. But otherwise, you're good.
I think another way to artificially stimulate that, it's like it's the same concept when you're going into a sports game, you're trying to get amped up. Like
Yeah.
you listen to pump up music.
Yes.
Or if have you ever done this where let's just say this happens a lot at family dinners. We're talking at family dinner, it is what it is. And I get a text from a friend and he says some funny stuff. And so
Yeah.
I'm cracking up at the table. And
Yeah.
then my mom or my dad will ask me a question and then I'm just in a way more lighthearted, funny mood. And then I'll say some stupid stuff, but it's because of this emotion that came over me. So that's even
Totally.
a way you could also do it. Also, I wanna share this cool study that I heard, and I wanna see what you think about this. So do you know Vanessa Van Edwards?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Amazing, amazing, I love her, and she's very good with stuff. But, she brought up this study where somebody analyzed the most popular people in high school, and they're trying to figure out what is the most common trait of all the most popular people. And it was one thing. The most popular people expressed that they liked other people the most. So they're
Interesting.
the ones in the hallway that is going and waving. They're saying hi to every single person. They're okay showing first to be like, "Hey, Andrew, like, you're the man. Like,
Yeah.
I like you. I like your stuff." And it was so fascinating. It's like and this even happened at work. There's this guy, we never spoke with each other at all, like not once. But obviously it's work, you see him around, whatever. We were sitting at it was our Christmas party and there was a baking competition. And he just comes up to me, he's like, "Anthony, you should go try a cookie." And I'm like, "Whoa, you just dropped my name
Yeah, right?
out of nowhere? Like we've never met ever." And I was like, "Yo, like, okay, he knows who I am. It seems like he likes me." It made me
Yeah,
feel way more comfortable inside, and then every single time we walk past each other, I'd say what's up to him now, but
yeah,
he initiated that, and so
right.
it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. No, you see it all the time. Like, you know, those and more often than not, those guys or gals, um, they don't have that insecurity that drives them to not do that, you know? Because I think they're so sure of themselves. I think that probably comes off too. There's probably a confidence element to it where they're so sure of themselves and they don't worry about anyone else, where they're focused outward. And that's the biggest thing. Like
Oh,
that goes
yeah.
back to what you mentioned earlier about how what emotion do you want to evoke? Maybe without trying it, but think about that. We get so few attaboys in our life. I mean, maybe you get them through social media, but like the average person, not that we're not average people for listeners, just regular people here.
Yeah, yeah.
Not putting myself on a pedestal. Uh, you know, like you get knocked down, you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see. Like to get that little boost from somebody else, like imagine that feeling. It's so good. Even from a coach, you know, like you did a good job today. You're like, I feel good for the rest of the day. You know,
Absolutely.
that's it.
What about first impression? What should I know if I want to consistently make a good first impression?
Yeah. This one, I've been really interested in this lately. Um, I want to make sure I articulate this really well because there are a few key elements that I think are core across all people that can really come across. So here's the first thing to note is that human beings are so good at picking up emotion. Like we think other people are dumb and stuff like that, but like we have a sixth sense for figuring out if somebody's panicky, if someone's not sure of themselves, um, speaking too fast, something's not predictable, which
Fake.
I'll get to in a second. Predictability is a big one.
Okay.
So 2 keywords, calm confidence. Calm, first thing you wanna do is just, like, calm your nervous system. And it sounds like voodoo, but, like, the breathing really does help. If you can get a couple breaths in before you may let's say you're gonna approach somebody, or even as you're going up, you're like and you go introduce yourself. Just get that, relax the shoulders, relax your jaw. Because when we're tight, that's when our voice doesn't come out right, and, our tonality's off and all that. So that's the calmness piece. The confidence is just, I'm sure of myself, and the way to really exude that, I always tell people, just commit to the first action,
Mm.
because that certainty is gonna rub off on people. They're gonna say, "This guy's, coming to meet me, and it has purpose behind it." Do you know what the next part's gonna be? So if I'm, like, super confident and certain, like, what else do I need? I feel like I'm coaching right now, sorry.
No, this is great. In a first impression, so you're calm, certain, and confident.
Yeah, so what's left?
Bold.
Bold?
Bold.
Yeah, yes, 100%. Bold is, I would say, honestly goes in that group, right? But then
Yeah.
there's the warmth piece.
Ah, okay.
That's the smile that we just talked about. So, because imagine you're a big dude and you come up, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, certain. That's off-putting, right? You come up with a smile, "Hey, so nice to meet you." So different. It lands
Yeah.
completely different. So there's the warmth piece, and that what I've also discovered is that you have the opportunity to dictate the mood of the interaction right off the bat. So if you come in dull, limp handshake, monotone, like, people are going to read that and say there's no certainty or they have no confidence. We're not going to say it in our heads,
Yeah.
but it comes off that way. So if you can commit to the first interaction, yeah, commit to the first step. I'm going to go up and say, "Hey, how are you?" Bring warmth and just calm it down, calm the nervous system. You'll be set. And then from there, you get into, other conversational, I won't call them tricks, but, you know, fundamentals, and you go from there. But those key items, because people read it so well
Yeah.
and will almost mimic the energy, are so important.
What about this? I I am always trying to find a different way to start a conversation than, "Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I know.
What's how should I be starting conversations to be more engaging?"
Yeah. So let me ask you, what do you think's wrong with that? And I'm neither way, by the way. So just I'm curious, why not that?
'Cause it's script, script, script. Immediate br it's so ingrained in our heads.
Yeah.
When someone comes up to me and says, well, now it's different, but typically when someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, how you doing today?" "Good, how about yourself?"
Yeah.
"Good." Head down. Nothing else.
Then
When
it's
you
good.
came on this call, I can't remember what you said right away, but let's just say my friend the other day, he comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, how's it going today?" Or the Uber driver say, "Hey, how's it going today?" Or when I was cold calling at work, people
Yeah.
would say, "How you doing today?" Every single time I say, you know what? It's 5 o'clock. Look out my window. I see Times Square. I can't complain. How about yourself?" I would
Yeah.
always try to bring something so
Yeah.
they can latch onto a piece of what I'm talking about and then expand the conversation. But
Totally.
for the most part, if you say, "I'm good, how about yourself?" it just shuts down and I got nothing to work with. I don't know what to say then.
Yeah. So agree to all of the above. I think, yeah, it is script. I honestly, like, throw that out of the conversation, and I really should say I keep it, but I don't. That's not the conversation start. Like, that's just formalities. Like, "Hey, how you doing?" And the reason I actually continue to do that is because that also leans into the warmth. There's another big piece of first impressions that I didn't say. People like what they can predict, which is why if you come at somebody chaotic, they're like, "What is going on here?" There's a safety element to it where you're like, "This is a little bit off. They're speaking really quickly." So if you come up and you're like, immediately, you're like, "What's your favorite dinosaur?" Someone's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, this, yeah, this feels weird. So I'm in favor of the, like, "Hey, how's it going?" Because the warmth, the predictability of it, the familiarity of it, and then you can get into the next thing. And the first question, it doesn't need to be groundbreaking. What I found is, like, what did you have going on today? Like, what do you got going on the rest of the day? How's your week been going? And people are like, "Good." Well, what's been keeping you busy? It's almost getting away from the
That's good.
questions that they can answer good with, and fill in the blank with something because they'll lead with the things that are most common or the things that are on their mind. I always like, what do you got going on the rest of the week? Immediately, like you kind of dig in there. That's the kickoff. And then you can go from there and tap into insights. But there are a few others, but I see you nodding along if you had
Well,
your
so
questions.
you are saying what though? Like you are going up to people and you're saying, "Hey, how are you?" They go, "I'm doing good." And then you say, "Okay, great. Well, Grace, what's going on the rest of the week?" Because you're always gonna have to follow up because they're gonna shut you down.
Exactly. Like,
Okay.
what'd you have going on today? You know, like something like that. Or what do you got going on the rest of the day? So you can go those ways. I have a couple others if you want to hear those
Yeah,
too.
let's hear him. Let's hear him.
So anything in your immediate observation is always good as well. So that's immediate commonality, right? Like there's road work, you got an event out here going on. Like that's something to talk about. You're in the lunch line and they're serving something different. That's something you can go up with. You can also talk about, again, I don't want people to get carried away with this, but like appearances. Someone's wearing a Chicago Bulls sweatshirt and you're a Bulls fan. You're immediately like, are you going to watch the game tonight? Something like that, because that immediately draws that connection in. So you
Okay.
can go, those ones probably build better connection than the other ones I mentioned before. But I'm all about just like kick it off comfortably and then grab onto exactly what you said, the hooks that they give you. So
Mhm.
that's it. That's the Velcro. Like, what did they lead with that I can dig deeper into?
Okay. That's fair. Um, yeah, so when every time I would come into work, I would try to play a little game with myself because I would come into work and this girl was the best. Like she was my mentor. So she helped me out so much. But every single time we'd come in, sometimes I just wouldn't say anything because I knew she was gonna be like, "Hey Anthony, how's your morning?" And you could tell that she didn't even want to say it. She's
Yeah.
just being polite because she's just not in it. And
Yeah.
so I would always try to like, say something extra to see if she'd latch on. Most of the time she didn't, but I'd always come into work and be like, "What are different ways that I can address my colleagues every single morning that will get them excited?"
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
you
like that. I like that, especially for people you see more often than not. Like,
right.
that's a good way to go about it. It also, because that cadence is important. If I'm seeing you every day and I'm like, "How you doing? What'd you have going on today?" They're like, "All right, dude, I had lunch." Like, "What do you wanna know? Why are you asking me this?"
Exactly.
Well, it depends the context for sure. But yeah, so, like, what are some of the examples you had? If you
What
remember, it's
what
no big
what
deal.
what I would ask her?
Yeah, yeah. What would you bring up? It's all good if you don't remember.
My go-to is when I see someone, I'm like, "Tell me something good that happened today."
That's
Like
great.
like, what's something good? And I got that from Vanessa Van Edwards.
I know that. Yeah, what are you
Or
excited?
or I'll say some about like, she spent time with her boyfriend, so I'd ask her about that, or sometimes I just make a statement. I say, "Oh, man, I like your sweater today."
There you go.
And I wouldn't even try to ask her stuff. Maybe sometimes it's just making a little statement and see how
Yeah.
they respond to that.
Totally. Yeah, and what you did there was another one, like, remembering details from prior conversations is huge. That's another,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Carnegie staple, anything like that. Like, for example, I knew you quit your job, like, that's, again, something I'm actually interested in, but it's something I could bring up to relate with you right away.
Got it.
Right.
What about in conversation, like, what are people subconsciously judging us on when they meet us?
So let me just start with the context real quick, because obviously conversation varies across the board. Like I have conversations with my wife, my parents, strangers,
Yeah.
colleagues. Like, where's your head at for the context, and then we can kind of like get in. Or are you just saying in general or life?
Yeah, so let's just, I'll give you this example. Um, I met this person a couple weeks ago. It was this girl, and I went to mass with her, and she's like, "I come to mass." Da, da, da." I'm like, "All right, well, I'll come to mass." And she's like, "Well, my friends are gonna be there." So I go to the mass, and now friend, 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 friend. I'm like, "Oof," overwhelmed. There's a lot of people. I don't even know this girl. It's like there's a
Mm.
lot of people
Right.
right now that I have no idea what they're doing, but obviously
Right.
I want to make a good first impression. And so I'm trying to figure out what are they trying to analyze me on to know if they like me or this and that. That's the context.
Yeah, it's interesting because some people reading people is hard. That's something you get from years and years of experience. But like there are insights that give off, like because someone might come off miserably and like they hate you, but you never know. They're doing the same thing as you. Like how am I coming
True.
off? You know what I mean? So I think I would say That's probably the most frequent mindset now. But you can tell people who are totally sure of themselves and confident. Like, I'm sure in business school, you probably met a lot of people who are like very bubbly and out and about. Maybe not. I don't know. But Kellogg, it's like this place erupts like when there are people here because they're all have a PhD in yapping. Like it's crazy.
I bet, bro. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're also like in our late 20s and early 30s, so it's a little bit different. But um, I think that's probably it. I don't know if I have a straight answer for you on that because I think it depends on the person. Like so many people, social anxiety rates. I imagine I'm just guessing based on my Instagram comments are probably a lot higher than they were 10 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
at least people say that. I think we probably have maybe less to talk about because people are not doing as much out and about, like glued to our phones. So I would say there's probably more fear about how we're all coming off in conversation, which honestly gives you leeway to lean into like taking lead on the energy of the conversation.
Well, so let me ask it this way. When you're in a conversation and you're meeting someone that you've never met before,
Yeah.
what's going through your head as you're analyzing this person?
You know what's funny now is so my social media content and work has honestly gotten problematic for me because now I'm so hyper analyzing myself
Mm,
where I'm like, maybe not always because I get into a rhythm, but there are some times where I'm like, am I doing the first impression stuff that I teach people?
I bet.
Right off the bat, I get in my own head.
Yeah.
But I truly do want to learn about other people. Like if I see anything interesting right away, and I always want to make people feel welcome. That's kind of like the biggest thing. If I have a shy person, I think I read people pretty well where yeah, I typically just wanna learn more about them and, like, understand them, and if I can sense that they're not fully themselves, like, I do everything I can to make them open up.
Oh,
Not because I'm like, I need them to open up, but I don't want anyone to feel like they have to put up a wall and not be themselves.
I asked that question because I think for me, when I go and talk to someone, first of all, I'm like hyper trying to be aware of, is this person engaged in this conversation?
Yeah,
Like, do they wanna be here? And I think part of it's 'cause, growing up and I'm still trying to get over this, like, I people please. That's something that I would do, and it's a hard thing to get over, like, you wanna make people happy. And so
yeah,
I get in a conversation, and now I'm analyzing everything, like, are their feet pointed towards me, or are they this way? Are they making eye contact with me, or are they over here?
yeah,
Are they giving me dry answers? And I'm analyzing all this stuff because I don't want my ego. Like sometimes I got a fragile ego, and if I don't want to be embarrassed by trying to put more in a conversation, and this person doesn't want it. So if
yeah,
they're dry, what's going through my head is I'm like, okay, this person doesn't want to talk to me.
yeah,
I'm gonna cut this conversation off and just get out there to protect myself. And it's
yeah.
like the softest thing ever, but I that's one way that I think I analyze people.
Yeah,
And another thing, it's like, you're right, dude. People really can pick up on uh emotional cues and if people are real. Like you can sense when someone's not genuine. It's probably the most unattractive thing in the world. And you
yeah.
can smell insecurity. That is one thing that really jumps out of thin air.
It's true. Yeah, the phoniness I can't stand. Like, I can't stand salesy. It's like, "What are we doing here?" Like,
Yeah.
it's almost patronizing. You're like, "Okay, what's going on here?"
No,
Um,
seriously.
I'll say one comment, actually. I learned this recently. There's a thing called the liking gap, actually, where we drastically underestimate how much someone else likes us from those first few interactions because we have a bias toward looking at the negativity. Like you just said, they looked away for a few seconds. They didn't ask a follow up question like, am I boring them? They just
Mhm.
gave me one word answers instead of, well, they smiled at me earlier. Like they did show interest on that one thing. In reality, the person's like, that was a neutral conversation. Seems like a pretty nice guy, but we're going home like, bro, like, I don't think that person likes me very much. And it's
Yeah.
just that negativity bias where we look for. You gotta be careful telling that to some people, especially, like, if they, already, like, arrogant or whatever, but it's, something to keep in mind. Yeah, it's hard, dude, like, I run into the same thing all the time, like, that's what I try to tell my followers on my videos, like, there's no perfect way to communicate. I run into all these same issues. Like, I wanted to, I'm taking a communications class here on organizational communication at Kellogg because I knew the professor was heavily into this research, and I wanna learn more from her.
Yeah.
And I was trying to talk myself out of going up and talking to her after class. So like, I got the baby at home. I got to get out of here. I'm a little bit stressed. I'm like kind of tired from class. And I'm like, no, go talk to her. Like, what are you doing? And I have the confidence to talk to, I'll say like anybody. Like I feel like I can have a conversation. I would hope so. I teach people this stuff. So I better be good at it. And, but I started getting in my own head and I was like, maybe I shouldn't talk to her. And I'm like, go talk to her. And I did. I had a good conversation with her, but it happens to everybody. I mean, like you get strung up on these things. And then totally what you said on the reading other people, you can trip yourself up. So that's why like you almost have to focus on the content of the conversation and not pick up on the cues too much, but read into it. That's the art piece. Just like you said. It's taking all of this into account.
So when you say cues, define cues.
Facial cues, tonality, the actual verbal cues, what they're saying. How's work going? That's fine. Like there's something more beneath the surface there, right? Like work is not fine.
Okay, so I say that. You say, "How's work?" I'm like, "It's fine."
Yeah.
How would you respond to get me to open up there?
It depends how you word it. If you're like, work's fine. I'm like, I mean, this is my personality. So this is different. I'd be like, it doesn't sound fine. Like, what's going on?
Okay.
You know? Or if you were like, it's going really well. I'm like, I want to hear all about it. Like literally tell me why you're excited about work. That's awesome.
Okay. Something I struggle with in conversations sometimes is when I listen, I don't know if you notice this, but I kinda, like, give a more an RBF face, like, I'm not like
Yeah, yeah.
this, like, I'm more serious like that, so, just us being on this podcast, when I'm listening to you and I'm like this and not smiling or whatever, how do you perceive that?
It's inquisitive. I
Okay.
do the same thing, dude. I probably look like I'm gonna murder somebody when I'm listening. It's, no, I can tell you're intently listening, and
Okay,
that's important. That's different than, like, you're mad. Like, I can tell exactly what you're doing. Um, no, I think you're good. I wouldn't
okay.
worry about it.
I
Don't
was
let
I was
that
just
get
That's always something that I'm curious about because, man, sometimes I had an interview with, a writer, like a journalist, and
Yeah.
she's asking me these questions, and dude, I was opening up and flowing like a fucking ocean to her. I was just like, boom,
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom. But I think the reason because she seems so invested, but her listening style is like, it was happy listening and made me feel like warm inside. And I kept going and going, going. Also, on the topic of warmth, is there anything that we didn't cover? How to make people feel or how to be more warm?
yeah, so the it comes down to a few things. It's like tonality and how you ask questions. So, like, why is different than what got you into that. Like, the way you frame things. Why is a defensive word? I'm taking a rabbit hole here. Like, why'd you do that is different from like what made you decide to do that. You know, there are different ways to phrase things where they can be kind of like pushy versus a little bit more friendly. But as far as the warmth piece, it's
Yeah.
really just being present in the conversation, warm face. Like you don't have to be a Labrador retriever. It's just neutral. It's neutral with some smiles thrown in, not fabricated. And then literally just showing interest in the other person.
Okay.
If we were to boil it down to a few things, like show that you're there, you have empathy. One last thing, matching the energy enough and the vibe, we'll call it, also shows empathy for the other person. Because you're saying, I'm going to come in and lead the conversation with confidence. If the other person is shy and quiet and I'm coming in dominating the conversation, if I can come down to meet them where they're at, that's also going to demonstrate warmth. And they're going to see
I
that. There's a
gotcha.
connection element there.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I was on a call the other day with this girl, and first of all, I think she was putting on an act. It goes back to like you can tell when people are not being 100% genuine. It's the type of person I'm describing is like this is our first time ever meeting, and
Yeah.
she's overtly, I'm so interested, like this and that. I'm like, I don't know, something feels a little bit off here, but
Yeah.
she kept putting on this front and being super super bubbly and kind of put me off guard a little bit, and I just kinda sat back and was a little bit more scaled down, but she kept it going, but I was thinking, yeah, if she scaled down here, I think we would connect way more. It'd make us feel like we're on the same wavelength. So is that what you're saying?
100%, because it's a misread, right? Like, that is her it may or may not be her personality, I don't know, but,
Yeah,
like, you gotta read the room a little bit. You know, if you're gonna come in super energetic and the other person's not, like, you don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. I think that's kind of there's an element of that too. Someone's dog died and they don't wanna talk about it, and you're like, "How's your Monday going?" You know, like, it's like, "Dude, leave me alone." You gotta
yeah.
read that.
It's
So,
like
yeah, dude, that's the art, man. It's not worry, you know, you can't get in your head too much about how the other person is perceiving you, but you also got to keep an eye on it. So there's self-awareness. I'm an amateur still, man. There's to be a true expert. I don't know if anybody is. Yeah, it's a lifelong chase to get good at the skill.
what about young men? I know that's a big pillar of um kind of your brand and who you're trying to serve. So when I give the term young men, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Like image wise, like when
Anything. Just
the
like what
first thing,
yeah.
young man. I mean, like Scott Galloway. How do you pronounce his last name?
I don't know who that is.
Scott Galloway, he's that like Prof G, the professor at NYU Stern. You've seen him. He wears glasses. He's bald. Like
Okay.
he wrote like the Algebra of Wealth, but he just came out with that. He's just top of mind right now. That was the first thing that came to mind to answer your
Okay.
question. But as far as so, the reason I brought him up was because now the state of young men is in the spotlight heavily from his work. So I think the book's called On Being a Man or something like that. But anyways, like he's talking about how the rates of loneliness are super high, depression, suicide are super high, how young women are getting frustrated because young men are not approaching them at bars at all. And he's all about like get out there, do stuff, get in the gym. Like you should be able to. He has one thing where he's like, you should be able to walk into any room and be like, I could rip anybody's head off in here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a masculinity element to it. That's a little bit of a stretch, but sure. I mean, I'm for it. Like as a protector and being, um, you know, maybe a husband someday and a father. Like I think that's important. But I'll
Yeah.
say there's, I want to word this the right way. Give me just one sec.
Take your time.
It's a, I haven't lost faith in the young guys, but I think they could probably use some help right now. That's what I'll say. And I think socially is probably one of the biggest areas where they're struggling. So that's kind of like my mission. That's what I'm trying to help with most. Because I think that manifests into depression rates and suicide rates and like do you feel connected with other people or are you an outcast? If you feel like an outcast, of course you're going to be lonely, depressed.
Mhm.
Happens naturally. So it's really important right now. I just rambled on a whole bunch of crap, but that's that's
No, that was very
where my
good. I agree. Um, what is the biggest step then socially? Is it just to get them connect, period? Is it they need to start connecting with girls? Or where does your mind go?
the first step. My mind immediately goes just get out there
Mm,
somewhere, a club, a group, join a flag football team, like go to the bar with your buddies. Whatever. If you're younger, like just get out and hang out with people. Like there's this I could go on and on about like the issues I'm seeing in my comments. Yeah, you want to hear it? Like you know about looks maxing.
no,
You've never heard of looks maxing?
I haven't, no.
So there's this huge shift for young guys that where the mindset is if you are not good looking, like people will not want to talk to you, men and women,
Wow.
which is kind of like to me it's nuts. There are some incredibly like
Yeah.
people who can connect with anybody and you know like they're not movie stars. It's just there's this missing link of understanding social skills where the looks piece doesn't matter. But now they're talking about, you know, the tilt of your cheek. Is your nose this and your lips this and your eyebrows and all this stuff? Like it's got to be perfect. And if you're not at some certain level, everyone's going to reject you.
Who's pushing this?
I don't know. The looks maxers, maybe the guys who are selling it, I have no idea. But that's the narrative I'm seeing in my comments, in my DMs. Like people will say, this doesn't work unless you're good looking.
Oh,
This
that's
is a conversation starter, you guys. Like, this is standard stuff.
I mean, you gotta feel for a young guy who has that mindset. Um,
Yeah.
because it's victim. It's saying, "Oh, well, I don't have this, so this is my excuse why nobody wants to talk to me." It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because at the end of the day, then you're gonna sit in your room and you're gonna do nothing, and you're not gonna put in I'll give an example. In college, and growing up in high school, I was the kid who would sit behind my mom's leg. People say, "Oh, who's your son?" And I'd
Yeah.
be like this as a little kid. That was me. In
Yeah.
high school, I had a group of friends. Like I had the same group from middle school to high school. So I was very comfortable. I didn't have to meet anybody. It was the best thing in the world. I
Yeah.
remember freshman year, I came in, I'm like, God, I thank God I'm not this kid who went to a different middle school and knows nobody because you would not catch me out here having to go and meet people. But then bang, college came
Yeah.
and I was a little shy puppy. But bless the Lord, I played on the baseball team because I came in with 30 new friends. But
Yeah.
that ended up also screwing me over because I got to the end of my freshman year and I knew 4 people outside of the athletics department. Literally
Oh,
4 people
really?
I could count on my hand. I didn't socialize with a single person. But
Wow.
that yearning for confidence and to be able to communicate and be charismatic was so strong that I dedicated all of my free time. I would live on YouTube and charisma on command. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever heard.
Charlie Hooper, right? Yeah.
Great
He's
channel.
great.
But like I didn't have those skills, dude. I struggled a lot. I could not go up and talk. It didn't even have to be a girl or guy. Like I was in my head. I would talk myself out of it, just like you're saying
Yeah.
with the professor. But like you can go out and learn this stuff. And one more example. I don't know if you've ever gone down the rabbit hole of pickup artists, but
Pickup artists. That's what you said? Pickup artists?
yes,
No, I
like
don't.
have you heard of Mystery or Neil Strauss from the book The Game?
I just actually, oddly enough, I was listening to a Charlie Hooper podcast. They mentioned that. So he was on Tim
Yeah.
Ferriss, and they talked about how the game is like controversial.
So what a
What's
pick.
it all about?
So you don't know about any of this.
No, this is all new.
Oh my God. Okay,
Hit me.
so
Hit me.
I'm warning you, you're gonna find this fascinating, and you're probably gonna want to look into this, and you're probably not gonna want to tell your wife about it. But
Okay.
it's a pickup artist was back in the 2000s. There was these group of guys that lived in this underground community. Think of like a Reddit. It was like a Reddit forum or a Discord
Yeah.
where they would go and they would type and talk about their girl problems. Or they would go and talk about, hey, I went out to a club, I used XYZ tactic, and it worked on this girl. So essentially, a pickup artist dedicates their life at understanding the social dynamics between men and women and
Yeah.
essentially getting it down to such a science where they can go and sleep with any girl they want. It's a science. And the craziest thing is when you talk about looks, Maxine, and these guys that are like, "Oh, I'm not attractive," and that's why the 2 most famous pickup artists in the world. One of them we had on this podcast, Mystery.
Actually?
Yes, look up after this. You'll look up Mystery from the Game, and you'll look up Neil Strauss. Neil Strauss back in the day, and
Yeah.
you're gonna tell me, and you're gonna look at them and say, "Yeah, these guys aren't the most attractive people in the world, but
Yeah.
they were so socially outgoing, strategic. You can say manipulative, whatever you want to say, that they knew the art of conversation so well to make any girl go home with them." The
Yeah.
the stories of these guys is so crazy. It's one of the most interesting books ever, and I actually think it could help your work a lot because at the end of the day, pickup is life. Business,
Yeah.
pickup is applicable to business. Pickup is applicable to parents, to friends, whatever it is. But man, there's this one guy. His name was Papa.
Yeah.
I think he was a short, fat Asian guy. But he got in this community, and so he understood the science of pickup. Bro got Paris Hilton's phone
Okay.
number at a taco shop in
What?
LA in the book. Like, it's a science of how these guys go
Yeah,
and do it, but
that's nuts. My gosh. I mean, yeah, that makes sense why Charlie Hooper had mentioned that because like that's what he was doing in New York City. He was like picking up ladies and then teaching people how to do it. Or like talking to girls at the park or something.
recently?
No, no, back before he came up with Charisma on Command and Charisma University. So you used to watch those videos.
All the time. Did you?
There No, I didn't even know he existed, actually. One of my buddies mentioned him fairly recently because he knew what I was working on, and then, I listened to a couple of his podcasts, watched some of his videos are good. I mean, like,
Really?
I just because it interests me how he picks things apart. Because 'cause I'm
Yeah.
very observant, but, like, he's been really good at putting into frameworks, which is what I'm actively working on. Like, how can I make this something that somebody else can take and implement right away, right off the press?
I That goes back to when we started off. You said, something you do is you read a lot of books, but you also observe, research, and study people.
Yeah.
What people come to mind that you think are master communicators, and what could a young man take away from that?
Yeah, the master communicators, it's interesting. When I think about people who others would know, like, for some reason, I always thought, Mark Consuelos. Do you know Kelly Ripa?
I don't.
Regis and Kelly? Are you too young for that?
Kelly Rip Reed, what is it?
Kelly Ripa.
I never
She's
heard
been
of
around forever. She was with Regis and Kelly, and then she had Kelly and Ryan, and now she's got Kelly and Mark. Mark is Mark Consuelos, her husband. Um, he's a really charismatic guy.
that.
Like,
Okay.
he brings the smile, he makes other people feel good. Ryan Seacrest is also very good at it. You know Ryan Seacrest,
Yeah, I know.
right?
I know
Right?
Ryan Seacrest.
So he's good. I'm blanking on others, but I mean, like, you know it when you see it. And I guess when I was younger, I really started observing people at Fidelity, and I think it was leaders at the company who I thought were really empathetic and really understood people well, and I was like, "I wanna be one of these technology leaders one day, like, what are they doing?" And, I got really close with the CIO there, and, he recommended a lot of books to me. Not the ones that I've mentioned, a couple other leadership books, but that's really where I got tapped into that, and I think the leadership philosophy started to form what my personality was because I was a tech lead at the time, so I was overseeing a software engineering team. I had to at a I was probably like 24, 25, and I had to really understand people really well and make sure everyone was taken care of, and that's what I wanted to be a really good team member. And so I think I learned a lot of that from there.
Okay.
And then yeah, just observing those other people and I started to piece together my own personality because you're coming out of college, like that's really where you start to like flourish in the world and figure out who you are. People say college is where you figure it yourself out. I don't agree with that. I think
What
it's yeah,
what did you learn from that CIO that stuck with you so much that you're like, "Oh, this is how you be a good leader?"
so much. I mean, that guy, like, I'm still in touch with him today, and he just always thought so not strategically because I think that's the wrong word, but so methodically about how you're delivering a message and what you're actually saying to someone. I'll give you an example. Like I had trying to keep as many details out so I don't expose this person. But like I had someone who we'll say was micromanaging me to quite a bit of an extent. And like I was extremely frustrated with leaving work every day. And I remember he mentioned to me, don't say like, hey, you're micromanaging me. Like you don't point the finger. He said, what am I doing that makes you feel like you might not be able to trust me?
Wow.
Different frame of mind, right? Isn't that good?
Yeah.
And so it's you put the onus on yourself. And that, takes away that it puts down the wall. You're putting your sword away. There's no finger pointing because you see it in corporate all the time. There's finger pointing. It happens. You put it on yourself, and now the guard is down. There's no what are they gonna say? Like, cause then and I realized so I had that conversation with this person
Okay.
immediately. She didn't even realize she was doing it. She apologized a ton. Like things changed because I had this conversation. It was I was like, "That's the way to go." So you
Wow.
don't point the finger. Sometimes you have to in personal life, but yeah, that was a big mindset shift for me to really empathize with that person, and maybe they didn't even realize they were doing it. So what is it that I'm doing?
Wow, so that's even applicable maybe to, I mean, your wife at home. If there's a disagreement,
Totally.
you would be like, "What am I doing wrong that's making you do this?"
Exactly. Yeah, and for me,
Yeah.
I'll just, like, be totally alright, like, my wife listening to this would be like, "Yeah, but he does that." Like, so,
Yeah.
I don't do that conversation, But I'm like, "Can you just tell me, like, what's getting you frustrated right now? Like, what exactly is it that I'm doing? Just so I can fix it moving forward and make sure I understand where you're coming from." That's it, and, like,
Wow, that's
that's
good
the key.
advice.
Most people get defensive, and they're like, "Why are you mad at me? What's going on here? Like, what are you doing?" And it's like, "No, but flip it on yourself, figure out the problem because it could be you." Sometimes you have to look inward. And so that's yeah, that was I have a zillion other lessons from him, but, that's the one that sticks out the most.
Man, that's okay, so that's, like, even on the topic of difficult conversations, like, what else do you have navigating difficult conversations? That's such good advice. Maybe it's from him, somebody else.
Yeah. So he actually recommended 7 Habits of Highly Effective People to me. Have you read that book? Dude, you gotta read that. That's a must read. Have you
What's it
read How to
called?
Win Friends and Influence People, first off?
Yeah, I've read it twice.
I expected you had. So, yeah, 7 Habits is a great one.
Okay.
A little bit more advanced, but, like, for you, you'll eat it up, no problem. Like, for when I say for, like, the younger guys that I coach, I don't always offer it up because I think it's too in depth, but there's a chapter on there, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And so that's kind of my approach to those types of conflicts and difficult conversations. It's figuring out like I'm at a crossroads trying to solve a problem with you rather than getting defensive for myself. That's kind of the way I see it.
Okay.
It's like, how can we sort this out? And he talks about finding a win-win scenario. And in that, you have to understand where the other person is coming from. Otherwise, you're going to start getting defensive for yourself and like state your case. And that's not where we want to come from.
Hmm.
Yeah. That chapter is worth the price of the book and more. Like it's good. All
So
the
it's
chapters are good.
seeing where the other person's coming from.
Exactly. And really understand it. So almost back to like looping for understanding that I said before, can you reiterate back to them what the problem is?
Uh,
And then you can come to a shared solution. Like you might have something different. I remember working with one of my managers at Fidelity and I was like, let me just understand where you're at. So
mhm.
to be clear, like you feel like it's not the team morale that's down. You just want more engineering power here. Like how can we get this product moved along quicker? And she's like, yeah, exactly. And when other people were coming at it from a different angle, because I was able to see that, like we could work through it together. Because now I know exactly where you're at. I can come up with a solution rather than putting my back against the wall and going from there.
Okay. So it's almost just like you're actually seeing the world from their eyes to understand where you can help instead of just being this is the way I know what this person's thinking and boom. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna make it happen.
exactly. And there's a time and a place for that. I would say it's rare, but yeah, because otherwise it's just the conflict continues. You're not going to get to a solution. Sometimes you got to stick up for yourself, and that's a whole different
Yeah.
story. But yeah, for sure.
That's that's actually fascinating because in our work training when client behaviors, I don't know, this was like a client call and they were trying to teach us on how to do it. And it's like something bad happened with the client or we didn't deliver or whatever. It's like part of that conversation is you ask them like what could we have done better to help you reach X objective? They say it and then the way to make them feel heard is okay. So just so I can understand, next time you want me to do XYZ, boom, 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 and then do this, that, this, and that's what you want. Am I understanding correctly? And then they say yes,
Hey,
and you're on the same page. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Um, before we wrap stuff up here, I'm just uh, I know a pillar of your stuff is like helping out young men professionally.
yeah,
So let's say my situation, someone just graduates college, they're coming into the workforce and they really wanna work up the ladder. They
yeah.
wanna to please their boss, play the game, do well. What's some of the most important things that they should know corporate etiquette-wise after graduation?
Yeah. So that's good. I'm gonna go like a little bit away from the social skills piece and a little bit of tactical here. Kind of a framework I put together over the years. So like step one is figure out the because you're talking specifically about how do you move up, right?
Mhm,
Like pretty quickly. So you got to
mhm,
figure out the system. How does it work? At Fidelity, it was my boss and his or her peers would all meet, and they're all like different VPs, and then put up, comments about somebody for whether they should get promoted or not. Like knowing that tells you exactly who you need to get in front of.
mm,
And so you need to understand if it's just like if you're in sales, you got to hit your number. That's the system, right? So like figure out what it is. Like how do they actually have the conversations? How do they make promotion decisions? And then you need to figure out the people making the decisions. What do they actually value? Because let's say like I know my manager and her peers are the decision makers. If I'm like making the website faster and we're working and our client is like 80-year-old people who aren't even using the website, like I'm just basically doing fun stuff over here that doesn't even matter. But when in reality, like they want me to drive revenue for the company,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what they care about. So how can I find ways to do so? So that's the value part. You got system and value. If you're a great engineer or you're a great consultant or you're a great marketer, doesn't matter. If you can't advocate for yourself, you're in trouble. So now we got to figure out how to articulate the value that you're bringing to those decision makers. That's the biggest thing. How can I get in front of them and not like an arrogant bragging way, but demonstrate exactly what I've been doing? And sometimes that's a 30-minute call. Hey, just wanted to run this by you real quick. And
Mm.
you showcase it to them. So that's the way to go. It works in a lot of different scenarios. So that's like kind of step one general framework. So I call it SVM, system value market, because you have to be able to advocate for yourself. That's where the social skills comes in. And then I had an SVP at Fidelity tell me like three things that matter: relationships, relationships, relationships. Like that was it. The people.
Can we talk about the advocate for yourself for a second?
Yes. Yeah.
So I newsflash. So I'm not I didn't quit my job to just be like, I'm never working for anyone ever again. Like that's not where my head is at. I'm very interested in getting an apprenticeship in the media space.
Oh, cool. Nice.
For working for someone and very close and shadowing with people that are doing what I want to do in the future. So that is a big priority of what I'm trying to work towards right now. And one of the people I took one of their culture surveys, and the question was this. It was, this is a scenario where over the past 6 months, you and a team of people worked on this very important company solution. You did a ton of the work, and these other people did not do that much of a work. But the following day after the project was submitted, the CEO sent out a Slack message to the entire company and recognized person XYZ on your team that did not put in work, but you didn't get recognized. So these other person that didn't do anything got recognized, you didn't get recognized, and you did a bunch of work. How would you approach that to make yourself feel heard? And the two options I was deciding from is don't take action, or the other one was privately message the CEO and let them know the situation and what you did for the end of the year, just for your end of the year performance evaluation, so they know about it. What
Yeah.
would you recommend someone do in that situation?
So are those my options or can I go rogue here?
Well, let's do between those two options, what would you do? And then we can go rogue.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, if you're just privately messaging the CEO, like, there's no harm to the other people. It's not as long as you're not like these people didn't do anything and I did it all. If you're like, yeah, they contributed. I just want to highlight, hey, I also played a role in this for the performance review. Sometimes you got to play the game. So
Mhm.
that's what I would say. Yeah, like
Do you
the
think that's pick me though? That's what came to mind. I'm like, it's pick me. Like, why would I? Because at the end of the day, if I did good work, I'm a firm believer. Like, if I'm doing good stuff, people are gonna know about it. So why do I have to go out and be like, nah, like by the way, I did this.
I agree, but I'd also push back on the if I do good work, people will know about it. Like, and the only reason is because to even just back at my prior job, like there were so many good engineers that just got buried because they couldn't articulate what they were doing well and tell
Uh,
the story. And like, it's marketing. You said it before, like you gotta sell yourself. You know, it's it might be pick me. I'm like, do you want you want to get a raise or promotion? Like, you're
yeah.
not harming anyone else. You have to demonstrate your value. It's like working for no money, right? Like you want to get paid or you want to like try to play like put your pride away, you know?
So what is rogue? What would you do?
Rogue is well, I'd figure out who the decision maker is in that, like as far as year end review. And I'd probably just like I would have a like heart to heart conversation with my manager. Probably. And I would just say because I built relationships with my managers pretty quickly, just naturally. I would just say like, "Hey, I don't know where your head was at with this, like, if you had seen some of the work going, but I just saw so and so's message. I just wanted to make sure for what's coming up at the end of the year that you were aware of my role in this." to make sure that didn't get thrown out. Simple, not arrogant, just laying out the facts here.
Okay.
And then they can make the decision and you log it and everything and
Okay.
you go from there. Yeah.
So I think the basis of it is you're saying number one, don't throw people under the bus, even if you get screwed over. That's bad looks.
You don't want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then, I
I
mean, like,
agree.
and you're public enemy number one right away. Like,
I
which is
agree.
going to hurt your projects in the future, your teamwork in the future. No one's going to trust you. That's a bad move.
Even if I was a CEO in that situation and somebody came, I screwed up, an employee came to me and it's, by the way, these people didn't do anything, and I did all this, and da
Yeah.
da 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 da. I would just be like, even if it's true, I lost respect for you. Like,
Yeah.
I
Throwing,
lost respect for you right there.
throwing people under the bus, man. You can't be doing that.
Okay,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah.
Anything else in kind of corporate stuff, maybe networking tactics, stuff with interviews that comes to mind that you teach people?
Yeah. Just for networking. Because I've had a number of people reach out for conversations, and I'll just say the things that stand out and the things that are kind of like, all right, come on. So do your homework up front. Like if you're going to meet with somebody, know exactly what they're doing. I had people talk to me about Fidelity. They thought it was a bank. I'm like, it's not a bank. It's a financial services company. We're a little bit different. Just kind of 5 to 10 minutes. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just come prepared. Show that you respect the other person's time because
Okay,
they're usually like, if you're networking with somebody higher up, they're probably pretty busy. So that's number one is be prepared. Number two, if you're having a networking call, always have an ask at the end. And that could be one of two things. If you're looking for you might be looking for a referral if you feel like the conversation went well. Hey, I'm applying for this job. It would mean a ton to me if you wouldn't mind referring me. And like, if not, it's okay. The second thing, phrasing's important here. I probably got this from the CIO if I think back. But this was a really great conversation. Like show your gratitude in the call. And then is there one other person you think I could benefit from speaking with that you wouldn't mind connecting me with? One other person. And the reason why is because when you say, is there anyone? It's going to be a number of names that come to mind. One person dials it down so they can pinpoint somebody. And you have that conversation. That's how you build your network, especially if you're trying to get a job. Then you can kind of like bounce around. Hey, is there anyone else on the team or one other person on the team you wouldn't mind introducing me to?
interesting.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Um, what was the other part you said? Interviews. Yeah, the interview's a tough one, man. That's an art for sure. Like, you want me to dig in a little bit?
Yeah, let's
You're
do it.
like, well, I'm sick of you, Andrew. Get out of here.
This is
But
great. This is
let me
great.
just yeah. So like I believe in the STAR method. You know the STAR method, right?
Story, task, action, result. Is that it?
Close. Situation, task, actions,
I
result.
got you.
And the actions is the meat of it. Like tell what you did to achieve the result. So if you don't know that and you're listening, check out the STAR method. Just because it gives you structure to your answers to keep them concise. The trick with the STAR method is you want to have your top stories ready to go. Like what were your top achievements at the company? Where did you actually move the needle? And the challenge is threading that in throughout the interview, telling your whole story, and you make sure that your key strengths are in those stories. So maybe you have one that demonstrates your teamwork, cross functional collaboration, right? You have one that demonstrates leadership, and you match that up with the job description. Cross functional collaboration, you keep seeing it. Get your top story in that interview.
Well said.
Even if they're like, "What's your weakness?" You find a way to weave it in. That's the art. And
Okay.
so you tell the whole story and you make sure if you see leadership, cross functional collaboration, what's another one, Anthony? Help me out.
Like skill wise,
Yeah. What?
did you said collaboration, leadership, technical skills. That's what
Yeah, something like that. You want to demonstrate that you understand technical products really well, right? So get those stories in there and paint the whole picture. So you don't want to tell two cross-functional collaboration stories. You want to hit on those, and that's kind of the weaving in art of it. But have 6 to 7, even 5 to 6 stories ready to go that you feel confident
How
in.
would you navigate the question, what's your greatest weakness?
Yeah, I shouldn't have said. I put myself on the spot there because that's like the hardest question to answer. Your greatest weakness, because people are like, "Oh, you got to frame it as a strength, right?" Like you taking it. Well, my greatest weakness is that I'm too nice to everybody.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's greatest weakness. You pick something that is not critical to the job,
Hmm.
and you showcase how you're working on it or that how you're cleaning it up actively. Like, you know what? I felt like I haven't been as technical as I'd like to be. Let's say it's like what's a not like accounting, right? If you're like I'm actively learning these AI tools right now, you
Mm.
showcase how you're getting better at it. It shows initiative, shows leadership. It shows that you're a go getter and you're not just leaving it.
How does someone really screw up that question?
You nail the job description. You're like, I suck at cross functional collaboration, right?
Yeah, then you're cooked.
Completely blow it. It's like, all right, why are we here? Right.
Yeah.
Um, I'll say, tell me about yourself. The last thing, link together, create the trail of how you ended up in that room. So explain the big transitions. Like I was in high school, I found this discovery for biology. Like I found a sea turtle that I thought was really cool, and I studied like what do they call it, maritime biology or something. Like
Something like that.
what's water biology, whatever that is,
Marine biology.
marine biology. Oh, geez, maritime. Um, and I did this study abroad program in Italy off the coast, and then I did XYZ, and now I'm here at this biology job, and like connect the dots for them and where you're headed in the future. So you got to tell that story. That's really critical because people say, "Tell me about yourself." Well, I'm from blah blah blah, and I like
Yeah.
baseball and this and that. You gotta. They care about the job. They're not just like. But if you have fun stuff thrown in,
One of my biggest things with tell me about yourself, humans have a need to believe.
yeah,
We need to believe in something. We need to believe in fate. We need to believe in leaders. We need to believe in politicians. We need to believe in religions. And so you want to sneak a little interview tactic. And I need to believe too. So part of me feels like this is true, but I Third Bridge, the company that I work for, it's a sales role. So I would tell my story and everything would be cause and effect. Well, I did this and I failed, and I did this, I did this. And then towards the end, it would be, well, I went to this job and I did recruiting and I found out that I love sales and I was an athlete and I like to compete. But then the next job was I started a marketing agency. So I'm very self-determined and a driver. These are all skills that you need at Third Bridge. But then
yeah,
I went to Abbott. And while it was an amazing company and I loved it, at the same time, I was just in Excel all day, like playing with numbers, and
yeah,
I lost my love for it. And I understood I need to be client facing. I need to have a target and a goal. And then when I look into content, I start doing social media. It's great and everything, and it's creative and it's fun, but what's at the core of that? At the core of that is psychology. It's human nature. It's understanding how to capture attention. It's sales, it's marketing. And that's what led me to this job and why I think this is the perfect fit. And so now the interview's like, "Oh, this is fate.
that
Like
was good. I
this
mean,
is
was
perfect."
that your real pitch that you actually used?
Yeah, I forgot the first part of it. Whatever I said in the first part, it was probably a little bit better, but towards the end, that's what's fresh in my mind.
Dude,
Um,
that was great. I'd hire you right now. Let's go. That was awesome.
boom. But yeah, it's like play on people's need to believe in a genuine way. I think there's truth
Yeah,
to it. But
I
yeah,
like that.
man, this has been some really good stuff. Anything else that we haven't covered about that really fires you up? Think could that you think could change maybe a young man's life or young woman's life?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it. I'm so goal oriented. I know you are too. Figure out what it's going to be in the future, break it down, and figure out the steps to get there. Even if it's on the side. I mean, like you can get wherever you want to go. Like I didn't just land at Kellogg. Like this was planned a long time in the making. I didn't just like start to grow social media following. It's all tactical.
Mm.
Just know that you have the power to go get whatever you want, and you got to have patience. You got to have consistency and patience. If you have the vision and those two things, you can go get it. That's the message. There's nothing that cripples my soul more than a young guy with like no outlook on the future, like nothing to go after. That's just me though. That's how I live. You don't have to but if you're not happy and you want to change things, figure out what it's going to be.
Well said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.